Hi guys, it's Reese Creed and welcome back to the Pathway Podcast. Today I'll be sitting down with Sarah, aka Saz CPT, who is an absolute Instagram phenomenon. I'm obsessed. So basically, we're going to be talking to her about health and fitness and well-being for young students, how she inspires her clients, and how she got to be where she is today. I hope you enjoy. Hi Sarah.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you. Absolutely obsessed. Like, I just think your outlook on life and everything is just refreshing.
I'm getting shy now. Don't do that.
I know. I'm just bigging you up too much. But I'm so happy that you took the time out today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So basically what Pathway is, it's just a thing for students to come to. It's kind of like a helping hand. And I feel like that's what you are on Instagram. Like, you're a helping hand to people kind of going through kind of hard times and kind of, you know, you inspire people through like your little speeches. I think they're brilliant. And just the way that you use your job to inspire people is just really, really good. So that's why I wanted to have you today. So can you tell me a bit about yourself?
The question that everybody has.
I know.
So basically, my name is Sarah. I'm an online coach. I am 28 and basically I started off in the industry about 5 to 7 years ago, maybe. So up until that point, I really had no idea what I was doing. Literally didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. There's a million routes that I did take, but none of them ever kind of came to fruition. But I feel like all of the little things that I did added up to this bigger picture. So I feel like they all kind of come together nicely. I work with females. So I'm a fat loss specialist, but I work a lot with disordered eating patterns, not eating disorders. There are two very different things, but disordered eating patterns. And I just try to make it I try to make my approach basically as easy and sustainable and enjoyable as possible. Because if it's not enjoyable, it's not sustainable, then you're not going to stick to it. You're not going to get where you want to go and you're going to go right back to square one. So that's my job basically. And that's what I do.
Yeah. So when you were in school, like going through like the education process, what did you want to do? Like, what was your main goal when you were in school? Or did you have one?
So I wasn't the most like studious in school. It's just not where I kind of excelled. Like, I wasn't very like, I didn't like to sit down and study. I didn't really like to sit in a classroom and things like that. Like, it wasn't my typical approach. And back then, that was kind of unheard of. So you're always kind of seen as like the difficult child.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be the one that was studying and I'd be distracted really easily. But now I think there's a lot more kind of avenues for people like me who don't excel in school. So what I wanted to do originally, which is completely different to what I'm doing now, but originally I wanted to be a vet. And I actually did my, do you know, in fourth year, you do your, or transition year, you do your like placement.
Yes.
So I actually went to a vet, like my local vet, and I was only there for one day because I couldn't go back after the second day. Because it went horrifically wrong. It went horrifically wrong. I won't get too into it, but it was just definitely, I'm definitely not able for that kind of stuff. I think I'm too soft when it comes to animals and things like that. So I wanted to be a vet. So once I did that, I did my placement, I realized that was not going to work. Absolutely not. Then I started kind of thinking about any other avenues I could take. And to be honest, at the time, I had no idea what I was going to do. And like, it was coming up to Leaving Cert and people were like, oh, what do you put in your CAO? Literally had no idea. The only thing that I could see that I had like a passion for was like cooking and baking and all that kind of stuff. I loved being in the kitchen. I loved like getting creative with stuff like that. So on a whim, I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'll do culinary arts because like maybe I want to be a chef. Who knows? So I put that down. And Leaving Cert results came and I actually didn't get the place because I didn't get the Leaving Cert results that I needed for it. At the time as well, like there was obviously your friends are all like, oh, what did you get? What did you get?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure there. And it's just something that it was never something that I like worked towards, if you get me. So like I said, I'm not very studious. So working with numbers and things just didn't motivate me. So
and did you feel kind of like the odd one out then?
Yeah.
Because everyone was kind of like getting like on the road to being in college and doing what they wanted to do, but you were kind of like, that's just not me.
Yeah. So I remember when I did maths, so I was doing ordinary level maths, and maths is like I said, numbers and me just don't go together.
Oh, me too.
They really, really don't. And I was so nervous of my maths exam because obviously if you fail maths, you fail your Leaving Cert.
Yeah.
So I was doing ordinary level anyway, and I think I got like a D3, so I literally just passed. And everyone was like celebrating because they had their like amazing Leaving Cert results, and I was just celebrating because I'd passed maths. I was like, oh my gosh. So there was a lot of like, it was a lot of different feelings going around with like my friends and me and all that kind of stuff, and watching them like get their courses and stuff, and me being like, what the hell am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? I have no course. So after that, then I decided that I'd do like a year in Limerick Senior. And for some reason I registered for business, and I had never any intention of opening my own business. I had no intention of it, but I just said maybe that was a good thing to, you know, fall back on or whatever. So I was in Limerick Senior for a week, and then I got a phone call from LIT telling me that a space had come available in the course that I'd actually applied for, so culinary arts.
Oh,
and I got in that way. So it just goes to show that even if you don't get the points that you need, there are different avenues you can take to get into it.
Yeah.
So I left Limerick Senior from that, and then I went into culinary arts, and I was there for 2 years. And I worked as a chef, was in restaurants, all that kind of stuff. And again, just wasn't really for me. Like, it was a lot of pressure, just really wasn't for me. I ended up dropping out of that. And what did I do after that? Oh yeah, I moved to Dublin. And when I was living in Dublin, I kind of got really into training, and I was like training my friends and things like that. And I remember one of my friends was like, why don't you just like do this as a job? And I was like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And they're like, you'd be pretty good at it. And I'm like, all right, go on, so I'll give it a go. So I gave it a go, and I went to UL, and I did NCEF, and I got my qualifications there, and it's kind of just spiraled from there.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long-winded story.
That's so mad though. I could not see you as a vet.
I know.
I literally
bawling, crying at all the videos. Like,
oh no. Oh no, like I would not.
No.
I have a puppy at home. I would not have the strength
Oh
for
God,
that.
he's so cute.
I know, I would not have the strength for that now, to be honest. No. But obviously you said that like your path like led you to personal training. So when did you feel like was the point where you were like, okay, personal training, we're going to go for this hell for leather, and I'm going to make this my job?
I suppose when I was in Dublin, like I said, when I was training with my friends, like it was what I was really passionate about, but I suppose I didn't realize that I could make it like a job out of it. Like I didn't think I could make a job out of it. And back then, I don't think there were that many like PTs. There were obviously, but like it wasn't so heavily on social media, or at least the pages I was following weren't really that heavily based around like training and all that kind of stuff. So I guess I just didn't really see that being a career path for me. So when she suggested it and I saw that, okay, there actually is courses for this, and okay, this is how I do this. Like I was like, I'll just go for it. So I just put my head down, went to UL. Like there was a lot of things in the course that aren't my vibe. So, you know, like exercise to music and like those like step aerobics lads, I swear to God, I almost failed them. Like I have 2 left feet. So even then I was like, oh my God, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I can't do it. There's loads of doubts along the way, basically. But once I got my qualification and I just got a little bit of confidence behind me, I just said I'd go for it. I started working, teaching classes, started off at the ground and basically worked my way up. So I went from teaching classes to doing PTs, to working for gyms, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually I'm here.
So when you kind of start off as a PT, as you said, so there's different levels. So you don't just go into a gym and you're like, yeah, I'm a personal trainer.
Yeah. So what happens, well, the route that I took and the route that a lot of people would take. Right now I'm an online coach and I don't do any actually in-personal training. It's all online coaching. So I've kind of moved away from the PT side of it. So I feel like it's just always kind of stepping stones. So generally what people do is they start working in a gym. And they kind of just get used to being in a gym and like just doing like customer service based things, like taking memberships, all that kind of stuff. And then the next step then will be like teaching some classes. And then after teaching classes, you go into PT and you get more comfortable working with people and you start building up like your repertoire and stuff like that. And then you can just keep excelling from there. So once you're PT, like a lot of PTs are self-employed when it comes to like working in gyms. So like I would have paid rent from gyms.
Okay.
So I've been self-employed for like 5 years now. But I would have worked for gyms before that. So yeah.
So like when you're working for the gym, you're kind of renting the space off them to PT.
Yeah, you can do. So you can either work for a gym and they hire you as their trainer, or else you can just rent a space and you can kind of control your own hours. And that's always something that has kind of been attractive to me, because in school I wasn't very good. So I didn't like being told what to do, basically, which, you know, I think you can kind of tell that from my personality.
Yeah. You are very like directive, like I am going to do what I want to do and no one is going to tell me otherwise.
Yeah. So basically that did always appeal to me. It was kind of working for myself, but I didn't link that to owning a business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. But
no, but like So then obviously you were obviously very much so kind of in the gym lifestyle, and then COVID hit. So how did like the pandemic affect personal training in general? Because I feel like there was like a big community. I know I did like personal training myself, like that everyone kind of wanted to be in the gym. But did you find when kind of the pandemic hit and people were at home, did you find kind of a surge in popularity, or what was it kind of like then?
So basically I had been doing in-person training, but I also had my online coaching set up at the same time as well. So it was before COVID actually hit, I had this set up.
Perfect.
At the time I would have had like 20 to 25 clients online. Whereas now I have like 100 and something. So all COVID did was excel my business really. And it opened doors for people, because when it comes to people trying to work out and things like that and trying to get into like these healthier kind of lifestyles and habits and all that kind of stuff, they think they need that person there. Like they think that they need someone to go to. And a lot of people do, but a lot of people actually are very independent and don't realize that they can actually control it themselves. And you don't need me to be there. Like I give you the support every single day by talking to you every day through WhatsApp, through all that kind of stuff. So I feel like what COVID did is it opened the door to those people who might have been afraid to do it on their own and to not have that in-person kind of aspect, because like I said, they thought that they needed it. Whereas COVID showed them that they didn't actually need it. All they needed was support. And that's kind of what I offer. So,
and also just like, I think that I know for me, when I kind of started in the gym way back when, like, I feel like that anxiety when you go in the first time and you're like, oh God, everyone's looking at me. But no one is. But it's just that kind of anxiousness is kind of taken away. And it's just like a little kind of guardian angel on your
safety net.
Yeah, exactly. That's really, really cool. So on that then, with personal training and with kind of your business as a whole, so what do you kind of offer to your clients? Like what would be your, like a day in the life of Sarah? Like what does your job entail, like day by day?
So basically I offer just a lot of emotional support. Obviously I give them guidance for like obviously their food and training, all that kind of stuff. But the food and the training aspect isn't the most important. And I think that's where people get it confused, and that's why things don't work for them, because they don't realize how much emotional support they actually need and how much they need to learn about themselves and how much they need to learn about their habits, their structures, their routines. These are the things that are really important. It's not so much the food, it's not so much the training, it's everything else that goes in around that. Like if you aren't in a good headspace, how do you think you stick into a training plan and you just like trying to follow your calories or whatever? How do you think that's going to benefit you when in reality, because you're not in a good headspace, you're probably overeating or you're undereating or you're overexercising or you're underexercising? All this kind of stuff comes into it. So I'm there basically to create a bit of awareness, to show them where their downfalls might be when it comes to like their journey, and basically just make it a little bit easier for them, a little bit more achievable, a little bit more realistic, a little more enjoyable, a little more tasty.
Oh my God. I have to say, your recipes are probably some of the most tastiest, healthy, like they are obviously nutritionally balanced, and they are like obviously to help if you are on that kind of fitness journey.
Yeah.
But they're so yummy looking, and they're so yummy, you know? And like, do you feel like even just with the fitness like industry in general, especially young people consuming that, do you feel like that sometimes it can be a bit kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say toxic is the word, but kind of just, you see this kind of like perfect lifestyle, perfect food, like leafy greens, chicken, you know, like, and like, you're like, that's not realistic.
Yeah. Like the key thing when it comes to the food aspect of it is you need to be able to enjoy it. There's no point in me just telling you to have chicken, broccoli, rice and just get on with it, like suck it up kind of thing. I really don't like the term people use, like food for fuel or fuel, whatever, that kind of thing. That kind of annoys me, because it's like, but it's not just that. It's also like enjoyment. It's also like a real social aspect. And you need to be able to enjoy all of those things in order for you to stick to something. So I would have started out like trying to do the whole bro diet thing, which is, you know, like chicken, broccoli, rice, that's it. And sure, it doesn't last. Like it'll last for like 2 days and then you get sick of eating chicken, broccoli, rice, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. I try to create like recipes that people think that they can't have. You know, they think that because they're on this journey of fat loss or whatever it is, that they can't have these things because they're not, inverted commas, healthy. But what is healthy? You know what I mean? Like nobody knows what that is. Like all you can do is create foods that you enjoy and try to add some nutritious benefit to them, but they don't always have to be super healthy. Like, I don't know if you saw like my Nutella s'mores thing. There's literally no nutrients in there whatsoever, but there's enjoyment.
Of course. You know? And I feel like that's something that like a lot of people in the fitness industry, I feel like it is kind of changing a bit now, but I feel like it's very much what you said, food for fuel. You have this certain amount of calories a day, you have this certain amount here, a certain amount there, and you just stick to that. And then I'm like, but I just want to sit in front of the TV with something yummy while I'm watching, like, I don't know, a program on TV. I just want that kind of like comfort feeling, you know, but like obviously not like comfort eating, but like comfort feeling.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what you do really well.
Thank you. I try. I try.
So just in terms of like personal training and kind of being that support for people, do you feel like everyone has a knack for that? Or do you feel like that you just knew that you had a knack for talking to people? You had a knack for kind of being that comfort for people?
I don't think everyone has it, no. There's a lot of people who are in the industry who might not be in it for like the right reasons and things like that. Whereas I'm really passionate about what I do. And like I said, a lot of my ethos is all about like your mindset, like the psychology behind what you do and all that kind of stuff. And I think without the life experiences that I've had, I wouldn't be able to apply them to my job. And I don't think I'd be where I am today with all of those things. I actually can't remember the question.
No, you're fine. But basically, just kind of like, do you feel if someone was at home and they were like, oh, I want to do personal training, like what are the reasons you do like training and online training? And, you know, is it just to have clients have money to pay the bills? Is it just to be someone that is on social media and everyone goes, oh, she's unreal and I want to look like her? Do you know, that kind of way? Like, I feel like with you, it's a lot more different. You're like someone that is there to support your clients and support them, but not be kind of like, you didn't eat this properly, or you know, it's not like that. It's not like an unattainable goal. It's just something, it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah. So yeah, I am very, very passionate about it. And I think that is something that people probably do see, like the whole Instagram thing, and they see like the likes, the followers, all that kind of stuff. It was never about that for me. Like I actually got a memory on my phone, on my Snapchat. I'd obviously recorded it before I went to post it from like, was it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, of when I was first obviously doing face to camera, like talking on Instagram. And lads, it was so awkward. Like it was the most awkward thing ever. But I never wanted to do that. Like I never, ever, ever. I'm not actually someone who likes very much attention. Like my Instagram might come across differently, but I'm actually not. Like I'm quite a shy person. So it was really difficult for me to like step out of that. But I do think there's a lot of people who do want that side of it, who do just want to be like Instagrammy. If you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Social media.
Yeah, of course.
And if you're doing it for that reason, you're not doing it for the right reason. You're not doing it because your passion is to help people. Like my passion really is to help people. It's to help people have a more enjoyable life. It's to not be so sucked into looking a certain way. It's to being comfortable within yourself. It's to having confidence. That's what my passion is. And I think that's what some people do lack. So if you are trying to go into it for the purpose of Instagram, maybe don't make that like your career. Like you can still have Instagram as a career, but it doesn't have to be like, you know, PTing and things like that.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes people just want to be, as you say, like Instagram famous or whatever.
Yeah.
But just be Instagram famous. Like, why do you have to bring the
it doesn't have to be that, PT like, you know,
into it? Like,
do your workouts, do all that kind of stuff, but you don't necessarily have to work with the client, you know?
And just on that, like I know you say that you love supporting people and you love kind of helping people. So just in terms of students, would you have any tips for students who are going through like obviously stressful exam time, stress just in general with all these ideals that they have to like kind of be like subject to all the day? Like looking at people on Instagram and being like, oh, I want to look like that. Or, oh, I need to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice to look like that.
Yeah.
Like what would be your advice to, especially young girls? I know that you work a lot with women. So especially to young girls, what would you say to them?
So basically, if you are going through exams and all that kind of thing right now, the last thing on your mind should be trying to change your physique. Like it really shouldn't be. The thing that should be on your mind is trying to make you feel really good within yourself and to try and manage your stress. So the main thing is, because obviously exams are stressful, like college is stressful, like everything is a stress. Like everything that is in your life is a stress, you know?
Exactly.
So if you think by adding in this new diet or this new regime or this new training plan or whatever, if you think that's what's going to be the thing that's going to help, it's going to do the complete opposite. So what you need to do is just focus on the absolute basics and focus on like taking time for yourself and just having a few minutes or even like an hour in a day. If you can have a whole day, then that's amazing. But just taking that time for yourself, take it for yourself, take yourself on a little date, have you time and get in touch with your own feelings and your own emotions and deal with those. And then the other basics then would be like making sure you're sleeping, making sure you are getting the nutrients, but making sure you are eating the nice things too. Because if you're not eating those nice things, you're going to be thinking about those nice things all of the time. And it's going to get overwhelming and then you're going to end up head first into a tub of Ben & Jerry's and then you're going to beat yourself up over it, you know? Well, you don't need to beat yourself up over it anyway, but that's what is going to happen with this kind of mindset, you know? So just taking it a step back and try not to take on too much, and you're not going to be in this position for a very long time. So you need to just get through the exams, chill out a little bit and make some mental headspace for yourself.
God, that was so woke.
So woke.
I literally want to like put that into like a graphic and have it on my phone.
You can do that.
Yeah, that could be a line
Might
for you.
Might be a bit long, but yeah.
You could do like a print line or something.
Maybe. Who knows where it's going to go.
CBT. But yeah.
I have people who send me like inquiries and they're going through like exams or whatever, like they're doing their leaving cert, they're still a student and it's like, I won't take them on because it's like, I'm not putting that extra pressure on you. Like, you know, so it's like, wait until your exams are finished and then we'll go.
So when you kind of started like SAS CPT as a business, what were any problems that arose? Like, did you find that there was negatives to it? What were kind of any problems you had?
I suppose the hardest part about starting your business is nobody tells you how to start a business. Like nobody does. And I was kind of winged it the entire way through. Like, I don't know how I made it here, but I did. So, I suppose just doing like the background stuff and trying to get a little bit of security about starting up. So when I first started up my PT, it was called a different name, and actually won't even go there because it's so embarrassing the name it was called. But I went through a couple of name changes. So when I started it, I was really scared. Like I had quit my job to start out on my own, and I had a lot of people who I thought would support me. I had a lot of judgment from those people. So I think that's what a lot of people face when they do things like this, because I had no backup plan. Like I had no money saved. I had literally nothing. I was just like, I'm really unhappy in my job. Don't like working where I am. I want to take control of my own life. So I knew if I didn't quit then and there, I could still be in that position, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to get out. So I got out and didn't know where to look, didn't know what to do, but I knew I needed like obviously financial security, and sure I had no job. So I actually went to Paul Partnership. I don't know if you've heard of that before.
No.
So it's a government kind of run scheme for people who want to start their own business, and they give you that like financial support. I think they gave it to me for like 6 months. So every week you get like your financial support, and they actually give you a grant to start up as well. So like you can use that grant for whatever you want. For me, I used it for like my laptop because I obviously needed that to start my business. So that was a huge help, was to do that. And then from there, it was just kind of hearsay. And like, I didn't know about like tax. I didn't know about any of these things like at all. So the scariest part is tax, like pay your tax. It's so scary. So yeah, there's lots of stuff like that I just didn't know that I haven't been taught. And I think that's where people can struggle. So it's about trying to find the right information places and making sure that you're going with that right information and not just going with hearsay. And also trying to have emotional support from the people around you. And if you aren't being supported by that, then get rid.
Yeah. Like,
you know?
That's so sad.
Yeah.
You know,
it was
like,
bad. It was bad, yeah.
And I feel like that is something that people are faced with a lot, is judgment. And how would you kind of like say to like a young person? I know that obviously your goal was probably a very different goal to a lot of your friends. So how would you say like to just stay passionate, like, and do what you want to do without this kind of judgment from other people?
When it comes to having judgment, you just really have to think about the kind of life that you want to create for yourself. And you do have to block out those people and ask yourself, are they really bringing you any benefit? Or they might not be bringing you any benefit in just that sense. So if it's just that sense, maybe don't go to them with those problems. Maybe you can you can be friends with them for all the other aspects that you love them for, but maybe just don't go to them for business advice and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, they don't see it the same way that you do, and they don't see your vision. So just really try not to take in other people's opinions and just go for it, because at the end of the day you'll never know unless you go for it. And if I didn't go for it, I wouldn't be here. And I can honestly say I'm the happiest I've ever been, and I can only see my business growing bigger and bigger. I've got big things planned, and like that, if I were to tell my friends now if I were to tell my friends what I wanted back then now, you know, it would be two very different things, and it wouldn't be received the same way. They'd still tell me I was crazy, you know.
So you have to just dream big.
Yeah, dream big, keep going, ignore the haters.
Yeah. So obviously you work doing kind of online training and this kind of advice. So what kind of advice would you give to anyone who is a young person right now watching this, looking to get into this industry?
So start from the ground up. I think a lot of people hop straight to online coaching because it's kind of like the cool thing.
Yeah.
But you need a lot of experience in order to be able to provide for your clients what you need to provide for them. And without that in-person experience, you need to get used to working with people. You need to get used to seeing how they tick, like what their routines are, like what their structures are, what do they usually react like to certain things. You're not going to get that just from going straight to online. I think if you just jump straight to online, a lot of the time it can kind of backfire, and it can make it hard to keep pushing through, because there are going to be lots of like ups and downs. There's going to be times where you doubt yourself. There's going to be times where you think you're amazing. But if you don't have the experience behind you, you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. So I think definitely start from the bottom up. Work in a gym. Like, get used to being in that environment, get used to training your friends, train people for free, literally do whatever it is you need to do to get your name out there. Once you start doing that, people will start coming to you automatically, and they'll start gravitating towards you, especially when they see you on the gym floor, because now that they know that, oh, Sarah's a PT, that's what she's doing. Okay, I'd love to do some sessions, you know? So you being out there on the floor is actually advertising yourself. So obviously advertising is huge. So if you can get word of mouth and people can see you actually doing your job, that's obviously going to make you even more appealing. So that's what I would do.
Like, I think even like, I know I was in the gym where you used to do it, and I'd always be like looking up like, God, she's brilliant. Or like, I think it's just a great like way of self-promotion.
It is. That's exactly what it is. Like, it is at the end of the day. Like, that's exactly what Instagram is as well. It's all like self-promotion, just getting yourself out there. And that's a scary thing, to get yourself out there. Like, I never forget my first day in the gym. It was daunting. Like, it was so scary.
I literally remember going, oh my God.
It is scary. It's really, really scary. So well done to anyone who has done that, because getting yourself in is the hardest part. But you're in there now, so just keep going. And if you haven't been there yet, just get there. Like,
take that leap.
Exactly.
So obviously, Sarah, you don't just do personal training. You have so many different projects, ebooks, podcasts. So how did you kind of branch out from just doing online training into other kind of pockets of things? So
it kind of stems back to the last question, where I was saying that like I got the experience of like working in person with people and getting to know like how they tick. And once I started doing that, I started reading more, and I started like getting interested in like how your brain works and all that kind of mad thing. So the brain is a crazy thing. So once I got really interested in that, I started like even working on myself and noticing patterns that I had, and noticing maybe like not so great mindsets that I might have been going through. And once I started reading about them and putting that into practice, I saw how much it changed my life. And then once I saw how it changed my life, I then applied it to my clients. And once I saw how it changed their life, I was like, gotta keep doing this.
Yeah.
So it kind of stemmed from there. And that's where all of the mindset thing came in. And I've even done intro to psychology, and I'm actually going to do my degree in psychology so that I can bring the two together and combine it into like this big circle. That, because I have a lot of clients who, when we're working together, they might be going through something personally, and they do talk to me about it. But at the end of the day, I do have to tell them, like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist. Yeah. Like, I do have to refer you out for that. But I'd love to be that person that I could refer them out to, because we've already built up that connection, and they feel really comfortable telling me these things. So I'd love to be the one that can keep going with that and be like, hey, let's just hop on for, a therapy session. Let's just get these things out and go from there. So I just have a huge interest in mindset, and I think I could talk all day about mindset. So that's why I brought the podcast out. It was just so that I could blabber on for as long as I wanted.
But I absolutely love those chats, because I feel like you just get so into the brain.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like, I could be sitting having, like, even yesterday, I was sitting like right here at my desk, and I was just about to finish work. And I just watched you go out, and you were like, I just had a day for myself. And you know what? You should have a day for yourself. And I was like, you know what, fair play. I'm going to have a day to myself this weekend.
Yeah.
And I just think that like it's such relatable content to the point where it's, obviously I've just watched so many people on Instagram and YouTube or whatever doing all this kind of mindfulness stuff, but it always feels very like over rehearsed,
forced. Yeah.
And I feel like we're kind of coming into that stage where like manifesting everything is like the new thing. Like people will literally be like, I'm going out tonight and I'm just gonna manifest this. I'm like, that's
not how manifesting works. But okay.
Like you just want this to happen, but you're not manifesting it.
Yeah.
So I think that like coming from that point, like I think it's just really realistic advice.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone needs a solo date day. Literally everyone. If you don't have one and you're scared of like doing anything, like I was even talking to one of my friends today, I'm meeting her tonight, and I was saying I was going to be at whatever place at this time, and she's like, okay, well, will you wait for me before you go in, because I can't walk in on my own. And it's like, why can't you walk in on your own? She's like, oh my God, mortified like walking in on my own. And I'm like, okay, you need to go back and listen to my story. You need a solo date day. That's what you need. Because you shouldn't be scared to do these things. You shouldn't be nervous of other people's judgment, because that's what it came down to. It came down to her being afraid of being judged by other people who she don't even know about walking into a place on your own, you know? So I just think it's really important that you get comfortable with yourself and you get really, really in tune with how you are feeling, how your own emotions are, like where your confidence levels are at, and just work on building those up, which is what I try to do. So
yeah, especially for young people, I feel like confidence is something that they really struggle with.
Yeah, a lot of people won't go for a coffee on their own, you know? Yeah. It's like, I love going for coffee on my own.
I love going for coffee on my own. I actually need time to just actually, like, because I'm talking to people all the time, I feel like, obviously, like I'm on Instagram as well, and like I have great friends and I see them all the time, but like sometimes I'm like, I just want to go around the town by myself and just have no one to talk to and just chill out, listen to a podcast and have a coffee on my own.
Your social batteries run out, sure.
Exactly. And I just feel like recharge those batteries.
Do you think you're an introvert?
I think I appear as an extrovert, but I feel like I kind of am an introvert in a way.
I think I'm the same, yeah. When I say, well, I think I'm an introvert, but then when I tell people that I think I'm an introvert, they're like, you're not an introvert. And I'm like, I must be an extroverted introvert then.
But I think I'm an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I put so much into my like social interactions that I get tired.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go home now today and I've had so many conversations today and I will just be like, oh.
You're going to be wiped.
And I'll just literally get into bed, watch Netflix and be like, no one talk to me.
That's what you need. You need to recharge it. You need that time on your own. You do. 100%.
Well, Sarah, I really enjoyed this chat. So thank you so much for coming in.
So did I. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. And thank you so much, guys, for watching and listening to the amazing Sarah talk about all things health, fitness, inspiration. She's like Oprah or something. Oprah. So guys, if you would like to, please follow us on @MyPathwayJourney everywhere on socials, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.